we have seen about the different decision making statements, right? Like if condition and if else condition. So whenever a particular condition is true, then the statements or a block of statements inside the if will get executed, right? For example, if you look at here, like this is my condition, and these are the statement which is available inside that condition. So when the statement will executed, whenever the if condition is true, then the block of statements inside the if will get executed. If it is false, right, then the else part will get executed. Okay. Similarly, when you have more than one condition, right, you can go for if else if. Okay. And we can also write a if else statement inside another if else statement, which is called as the nested if else statement. Are we clear on this? Do you have any questions? Yes, no?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So next concept is the loops concept. So basically, what do you mean by loop is nothing but, see, generally in a programming language, right, every statement is executed in a sequence, right? But whenever you want to execute a statement or a group of statement multiple times, okay? Whenever you want to execute a statement or a group of statements multiple times, we go for loops. So let me put it here. What do you mean by loops is, okay. A loop statement allows us to execute a statement or group of statements. Statement or group of statements multiple times. So what are the different loops which are available is we have for loop, okay. Second one is while loop. Next one is nested loops. So was this topic covered earlier? Yes, no?
Yes, no.
Sorry?
Previously, it's covered, sir, looping statements.
Okay, it's covered. Huh? Okay, then it is good. See, basically, if you look at here, right? So basically, this is my condition. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to verify whether the condition is true or false. If the condition is true, until the condition becomes true, right, the statements inside the loop will get executed. Okay, clear? Huh? For example, let's see the for loop. So what is the syntax? What is syntax for loop is for iterating variable. Okay. This is generally a list, or which is called as a sequence. Okay. In a sequence, semicolon, statements. This is how it will be. So basically, what is going to happen is, for example, let me take a list. Okay, it can be any list. I'm giving it as list is created in square brackets, right? 10, 20, I'm creating this list. Generally, till now, what we have done is like we have tried to print that list, right? I'm using print, and this is what we have been doing it till now. Basically, you are printing the complete list. But if you want to print the individual elements in that list, right, you have to make use of a for loop. For I'll take one variable. Let's take the variable as element in my sequence. My sequence here is a list. and I want to print the each and every value. Okay, I want to print the each and every value. So this is how I can print the elements inside the list. Okay. So sometimes, generally, what happens, like basically, you have a function called. See here, you know the list, right? Means you know there are three elements and you are trying to print it. So for example, there is one inbuilt function. Okay, there is an inbuilt function generally which we use when working with loops. The name of the function is range function. Okay, what is the purpose of this range function is basically this range function will contain three parameters. Okay, the range function will contain three parameters. First one is called a start, which is an optional value. Okay. Second one is stop, which is a mandatory value. And third one is step, which is also an optional value. Okay. So basically, let's say you want to loop through 10 elements. Okay. If you want to loop through 10 elements, right, you have to make use of a range function. For example, I'll tell you. For example, you take the same A list. Okay, you take the same A list, and this is how we are printing the values in that particular list. But the other way of doing it is through range function. Like for example, if you're familiar with other programming languages, right? Let me write it down. This. I have to make use of a range function, and starting index is 0. Okay, and there is one more function called as length function. Length function, which we have already seen in the list data type. Basically, we've not seen it. Basically, the length function will give you the number of elements in that particular sequence. Okay, and here how many elements are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 elements are there. So till 0 till 4 elements A list. Okay, till 0 to 4 elements A list. I want to loop through it. Okay, and I'll say that print a list of I. So this is the other way of looping through this particular list. All right. Now, let me comment this. Okay. For example, but if you don't want to loop through all the elements, you don't want to loop through all the elements, you want to loop through a particular set. For example, you want to loop through starting from first value, okay, and you want to end it at the third value. See now. Okay, so now what is it starting from? First, this is the 0. This is the first value. It is printed 20. And 3 means 3 minus 1, it will print. That is 2. So it will pick the first value and the second value. So generally, whenever you are using loops, right, you go with the range function. Is it clear what I'm talking? Yes, no?
Yes.
Oh, okay, fine. Fine. So we have, so there is we have one more concept, like whenever you're working on for loop, right, we have one more concept called as the else part, else statement in loops. Okay, else statement in loops. So what is the purpose of an else statement in loops is, it is executed when a loop is terminated in a normal manner. I'll tell you what do you mean by this. Okay, when it is terminated, that is if you are not using anything like a break statement. Okay, if you are not using anything like a break statement, then the else would be used. For example, so this is for the else part. Else print goodbye. So look at here, after printing the list, if you want to print anything, right, that can be placed inside the else block. See, the list is printed. Generally, the range starts at 0, and it length of a list. Okay, so this is how we can even a for loop can contain the else part. Even a for loop can contain the else part. Just make a note of this. If you already know, it's okay. If you don't know, right, just make a note of this. Once you are completed, just ping the thumb symbol in the chat in the participants list. Later, I'll share all this program. Somebody create a group and let me know.
Sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, if we want to use with the strings, then
if you want to use with string, here you can write the values here. Okay.
Oh.
For example, see here, let's say I'll take one more value, b list, and here you want to use strings up.
Yes.
Okay. Let's give the names. Okay. Let's say like I'll give the automation tools name Selenium is one string. Other one is UFT. UFT, and the third one is Tosca. And fourth one is load runner. In anything you can print it, okay? And here it should be B list. Okay, you can navigate any of the values using, basically the loop is used to navigate to all this. So generally for loop, right, whenever this is called as a sequence. The sequence can be a list, it can be a dictionary, it can be a set, it can be a tuple. So main purpose is this condition will be executed until the condition is true, right? The statement inside the loop will get executed. Okay.
Okay.
Completed. Once completed. Okay. Okay. So similarly, we have the while loop. So what is the purpose of while loop is? It is repeatedly executed. While loop is okay. It is repeatedly executed until as long as the given condition is true. Given condition is true. Okay. So what is the syntax of this while? keyword. And here you have the condition, which is generally an expression which returns true or false. Here you have the statements. Okay, sequence of statements also. This is how you execute the while loop. That means whenever the condition is true, the statement inside that loop will execute it. That is whenever the condition, see here, I'm saying that whenever A is true, then B will get executed. And if the A is false, then B will not get executed. For example, one thing we can do is, do you know how to calculate the factorial of a number? What do you mean by factorial of a number? For example, 4 factorial, which is nothing but 4 into 3
3
into 4 into 1. Okay. So we already know the input function, right? So this is how we have to use an input function. So input, and we'll accept one variable and we'll put it in. Oh, okay, fine. So I'll copy this, how to create an input variable. So this is my input variable, enter a value. Now what I want to do is I want to print, let's say if I'm taking 4, then I want to print 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. This is what my program should do. That means I need to repeat the loop. Okay. So while I need to repeat the loop until I'm taking one variable, like I is one variable. I need to repeat it until, in this case, I need to repeat it for 4 times. Okay. I need to repeat it for 4 times. Okay. And what I need to do, I need to, let's say, for example, what I'm doing is I need to multiply. For example, I've entered 4. Okay. So I've entered 4. Then how do I get this value? Means, well, I need to take one more variable. Like, for example, let me take I value. I is equal to I starts at 1. I'll take a factorial as one more variable, which is also at 1. So right now, if I want to get this sequence, so what I need to do is fact is equal to factorial star I. That means what I'm doing is initially the value of fact is 1 and I is also 1. So now what will happen here? This is nothing but 1 into 1. Yes or no? 1 into 1 is 1. Afterwards, what I am doing is I'm incrementing the value of I by 1. So first time when this particular loop is executed, right? So what it will do is it will calculate 1 into 1, which is nothing but 1. That means at this point, the fact value is equal to 1 and I value is also 1. Correct? Yes or no? Now what I'm doing, I'm incrementing the I value by 2. Once the loop is completed, the I value will become 2 and it is calculated as fact is equal to fact into I. That is nothing but, what is the initial value of fact? 1 into 2. Now what will be the value of fact here after this particular loop? It would become 2. Okay. And I value would be incremented to 3. Okay. Let's see this. What I'm doing is, here I'm printing this value. Print. Here, I'll put it in one variable. I'm accepting this, right? I'll put it as var1. Anything is missing here? Okay. Why it should come out of the loop? I is equal to I plus 1, fact is the bar loop. Think, yeah, it should print. Let's see if it is failing with starting it here. No new line, okay. The value, let's say 5. This is giving me 20. How it is giving me 20? 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. Are you able to follow? So it, and also what I'll try to do is I'll try to print these values. Okay. We know how to work with formatters, right? Okay. Here, for your understanding purpose, I'm going to print format, fact, and I. Fact star I. Here. Fact star I is equal to 1 second fact and I. So fact is equal to fact star I. 3 are not required. Initially, look at here. I've entered 4. First time, what is happening as per this logic? 1 into 1. So 1 into 1 is printed. Okay. And next time, what is happening? See, I is incremented by 1. So what will happen here? So 1 into 2, right? Let me elaborate here this way. When I'm executing for the first time, fact is equal to 1, I is equal to 1. Okay. Now what I'm doing, fact is equal to fact in factorial into I. When I do these things, what would be my final value? I'm writing it as final value. Final value of f and I after executing the above statement. So here what will happen? The first time when the loop is executed, it is 1 and 1. 1 and 1. Okay. So that is the reason why here you are getting it as 1 and 1. Let me remove this piece. Okay. Let me remove it. First time when it is executed, it is 1 and 1. Now, final value after executing this statement, I'm calling this statement as line 1. Or let me say 1, 2, 3. Line 3. Final value after executing line 3. So what is the value of f here? And here I'm trying to increment it, right? After this one, I'm saying that I is equal to I plus 1. So after executing line 3, what would be the value of f and I means? F would be 1 and I would be 2. Okay. Again, the loop will go on. Now, at this point, what will happen is f will become, because I'm assigning next time when I go right, the value of f would be 2 into I. sorry, one second. It's 2 into, yeah, correct, 2 into 2 only. Why? Because I has been incremented. See, let me put it here in this my paint. This is F and this is I. First time both are same. Okay. Here also 1 is there and here also 1 is there. Okay. Now what I'm doing is I'm incrementing value by I and then I'm calculating the value of F. Once the first loop is incremented, the value of I will become 2. That means here this value has been, I value has been replaced with 2. And now I'm calculating the value of F. What is the value of F? F into 2. So in the second case, this value will become 2. Okay. So that is the reason why you got 2 into 2. Now what I'm doing, I'm incrementing the value of I is equal to 3. After completing this statement, the value of I will become 3. Okay. It got incremented. Now I need to calculate the value of F. So what will be the value of F? 2 into 3, that is 6. So now what I'm going to do is look at here. It is replaced with 6. F is replaced with 6. So this value is replaced with 6. Now again, I value will be incremented. This value is replaced with 6. I value will be incremented by 3 plus 1. It will become 4. Now what would be the value of F later? It would be 6 into 4. That is 24. Will be replaced by 24. Okay. Finally, it will comes out of the loop and it breaks. So this is one of the very common questions they ask in the interview. Can you tell me the factorial of a number? If you don't know how to work on it, just make a note of it. This is how we can use factorial of a number. Once completed, let me know. So now if I'm giving a value of 6, value, let's take 6. It is like this. Every time I value will be incremented from 1 to 6. And the calculator F value would be the product of these two numbers. Okay, that is 2 into 3, 6. Next time it would be 6 into 4, 24. Next time it would be 24 into 5 is 120. Next time it would be 120 into 6, that is 720. This is how we can get the factorial of a number. If you're not aware of it, just make a note. Is it completed?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. The other one is nested loops, which is a loop inside a loop. The best example is a two-dimensional array. For example, let's say you want to print values like this. How a two-dimensional array looks. See, this is a two-dimensional array. Like what you want, how many rows you want? You want 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, and you want 4 columns. Okay. And how do you get the first one, first column? The 0, 0. Okay. Second, like a second row and first row, second column is 0, 1. And third column is 0, 2, and fourth column is 0, 3. Whenever you want to print or whenever you want to get in a two-dimensional array, right? We have to go for nested first. And we can make use of the range function for how many columns I want. I want columns from 0 to 3, 0, 1, 2, 4 I want. So for I in, we'll take a range function starting from 0, 4. Rows should be 3 only, right? So when rows are 3, I need to go 4, correct? Semicolon. Inside this, what I will do is I'll take one more loop for j in range of 0, 5. Because I have how many columns? 4 columns. Okay, range of 0, 5. I want to print I, j. Okay, this is how you can do. For example, you can even do one thing like after every this one, right? You can print something like this after. To give you more clarity. So this is the first row. Starts at 0 and ends at 4. This is what is our expectation. Or ends at 3. That means it should be 3 only. And it ends at 3, 4. Do you have 3, 4? No, it should end with sorry, this should end with 3 and it should end with 4. So first one is 0, first row is 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, and 0, 3. This is how we represent these values. Okay. Second row is 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, and 1, 3. Third is 2, 0, 2, 1, 2, 2, and 2, 3. This is how whenever you have a multi-dimensional array, right, you can go with this one. Is this clear? Make a note of it. Once completed, we'll go to the next concept. This is called as nested loop. Okay. We have one more concept which is called as control statement, loop control statement. What do you mean by loop control statement? Is there are 3 things. One is break, other one is continue, and third one is pass. What does a break says? It will. What do you mean by break? It will terminate the loop. And it will transfer the execution to the statement immediately following the loop. What is the purpose of break means? It will terminate the loop. Terminate the loop and transfers execution immediately statement immediately following the execution statement. Following the loop. For example, let's say I have one variable where 1 is equal to giving it as Python. Okay. So whenever I want to print each and every, you want to print each and every value in this sequence. Okay. This is a sequence, right? So what I will do is I'll directly take the for loop. For I'll take one variable called as letter in this sequence. Okay. Python. Okay. Semicolon. and you want to print it. Generally, we print it, right? Print current letter. Here, this will give me the letter. So it will print PYTHON. This is what we know how a for loop works. Okay, current letter is PYTHON. Okay. But I want to come out of the loop. I want to come out of the loop when a particular condition is met. Like whenever the letter is equal to H, I want to come out of the loop. So I'm going to use if statement. So whenever my letter is equal to H. Okay. And what I want to do, I want to come out of this particular loop. And then I simply use break. I want to come out of it. And this is what, see, whenever the condition is met, right, I'll come out of it. What is the purpose of the break statement? It will terminate the loop and transfer the execution to the immediately following statement. But currently we don't have any other statement. Like here I'm going to write print goodbye. So it will transfer immediately to goodbye. Okay, this is how a break statement will work. So what continue statement will do is, so it will, continue statement will skip. They'll definitely ask these type of questions. Can you tell me the difference between continue and break? See, when you are learning Selenium, right? Interview would be like 60 to 70% would be Python questions and 30 to 40% would be Selenium questions. Okay. Continue statement causes the loop to skip the remainder of the steps. Of its body. And immediately retest the condition. That means just make a note of this break because I'm going to edit this program. Are you able to follow what I'm talking? Yes, no.
Yes, sir.
So this is how a break works. Break means whenever that particular condition is met, then it will come out of that particular loop. That is the reason why it is write down the output also. Okay, it is printing PYT. Now if I'm using continue here, ideally what should happen? Ideally what should happen is whenever H has come, right, it will skip this. Okay, it will skip the remaining statement and go to that loop. That means H will never get printed. Look at here. See, PYT, H is never get printed. Whenever you encounter it, it will reset to the condition. It will reset to the condition and it will continue. Okay, let's make a note of this also. So what we have seen till now is like we have seen if else conditions. Okay, if statements you have seen, else statements you have seen, and nested if else. And also we have seen the loops part, like while part and for loop part. Some of the basic questions which they generally ask is like they will ask you, let's say, they will ask you, like they'll give a number and they'll ask you to check whether the number is even or odd. So how do you check whether the number is even or odd?
Divided by 2 equal to 0.
It's not divided by, its modulus, like a percent
Modulus.
reminder after division. So what I will do is I'll accept the input from the user. Flow input, enter a number. Okay, I'll say that enter a number. Since input function will return a string, I'll convert it into a integer value by using integer like this. I'm going to convert it. This I'm going to store it in one variable. I'm going to call it as number. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is if num1 percentile 2 is equal to 0. Whenever this condition is met, that is, it is an even number. Print is an even number. Even number dot format. They have taken right decision. What did I take? Where I have printed it, right? Dot format and I have to print number. Yeah, and this should be in double quotes or single quotes. Okay, otherwise, else you'll print it is an odd number. Print the number is an odd number, right? So now what I'm doing is double equal to 0. Okay. I'm entering a number, I'm entering 5. So it will print as an odd number. Yes, I'm entering 8. Okay, it will print it as a even number. So the reason why I'm explaining this is they'll not ask you to print even or odd. They'll ask you to find out the leap year. Okay, they'll ask you how do you calculate whether a year is a leap year or not. Then this percentile concept will come into picture. So just take it as an assignment, like how to calculate the year is a leap year or not. Okay, just take it as one assignment. Okay, how to calculate this we'll discuss tomorrow maybe. Year is, what is a leap year? February 29. If whenever there's one extra day in February, which is 29, then it's called as a leap year, right? Total number of days in a leap year is 366, not 365. This program they'll not ask how do you work with whether a number is even or odd. How do you calculate a year is a leap year or not? Just try to apply whatever the concept you have learned, and later we'll see. Okay. So other question generally they ask is like multiplication, like how do you print the multiplication table? This is possible using loops concept. Generally, these are the common questions which they discuss of a table. Okay, I want to calculate the, here I need to make use of the either I can use the for loop or I can use the while loop. We'll see both the things. So I need to accept a number. Okay. So this is what I'm doing. I accept a number. Enter a number for which user want to print multiplication table. Taken the number, and now I'm using for loop. For what is the syntax of for loop? So for variable in sequence statement. If or we can even use the range value. This one. Okay, for variable in sequence print the values. So for, I'll take one variable. Let's say I'll take one variable called as count. Okay, and I'll take it from 1 to 10, right? That means I need to take 1 to 11 because it is 11 minus 1. And for count in range is this value. Print the number, which is the number num1, comma. I'll put it as x, comma, equal to count. Or we'll put like this format we can use. What we want. First one would be number. Okay, num1. Second one would be count. Okay. That is into count number into count one more variable is equal to this value, comma, num1 into count. So how I'll try to print a multiplication table. I can write like this, print. This one of number. Let's see how do you print it. I'm saying that enter number for which you want to print the multiplication. Let's say I want to print it for 5. Get here, it is printing for 5. And I want to print for 34. It's printing for 34. The same thing can be done with while also. Same thing can be done with while also. So how to do it for while means, I'm copying it. So what is syntax of while? While condition statement. Did I write a while? This is for loop, this is for loop. It's nothing but while condition statement, right? So what I will do is I'll declare one variable count. Count is equal to 1. And the condition is while count is less than or equal to 10. And I want to print this statement. Later, I want to increment the value of count. Count is equal to count plus 1. This is how I want to do it. Let's take, I want to take it as 5. This is how it is going to print a multiplication table for 5. Take some other value. What I want to show is where we, how the questions will be framed in the interview. Like they may ask you the multiplication table to test the loops concept. They can ask anything. They can even ask the factorial of a number also. Similarly, they can ask you the leap year to test the if and else conditions. Is this clear what I'm talking? Yes, no.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Just make a note of it and try to work on that leap year problem. If you are able to work, that is good. That means you are clear with the if concept. If you are not able, then we'll discuss in tomorrow's session.